talking about these lifestyle changes, the things we've done differently, the things we probably would have done earlier if we had recognized the importance. They all lead to lifestyle overall. And this segment I'm really, really excited about because it is leading to really the premise of the White Dress Project. You know, I always talk about starting the White Dress Project because my mother lost 2 sets of twins due to fibroids, and I was the only one of her children who made it. I am her miracle baby. I'm an only child. But she's not the only one who has gone through something like this. And I want everybody, if you feel comfortable, to really delve into how you feel about the motherhood journey as it intersects with your fibroids journey. And I do think it's important to note, and for our audience, that none of us have children. And you know, what we talked about before, that not every woman wants a child, which we have no judgment about, is perfectly fine. But if you do want children, how does this play into everything that fibroids brings with it? So I just want us to be transparent about that moment and how we come to those decisions about what is going to be our path to motherhood.
I will be completely honest. Like I've stated before, like I am from the South. I'm Texas. I'm a Texas girl. So I feel like before I even knew what being a mother was, I was taught that I wanted to be a mother. And I think that, like I said, with even my mom saying, hey, don't put this out there because you don't want people to think, you know, and whether that's a misconception or not about, you know, not being able to have children. For me, it's a reality. And I am 35 and I'm not married. And so it is a very real, it's very triggering. It's very, it saddens me when I think about it.
And Nkem, I know earlier you have talked about, you know, not making a decision yet on what you want to do about your fibroids. So where are you in this motherhood journey, knowing that you still have to make a decision about fibroids?
So to be honest with you, that's part of the reason I haven't made a decision, because I do desire to be a mother. And with the statistics out there, the fact that if I do get the surgery, there's a possibility that the fibroids might grow back and then I'm going to have to do a surgery again. And I don't want to have to keep doing the surgery before I have children, because I don't want to have to do the surgery multiple times. So I've been praying to God that he blesses me with a husband so that you know, I can get the surgery 6 months down the line. I potentially, hopefully, can get pregnant. And also, what Brandi said resonates with me as well, because I was on a telehealth visit just a couple of weeks ago, and he said, my doctor said, you're going to be 35 next year. So you should really think about and I would be remiss as your physician if I didn't bring this up to you, but you should really think about freezing your eggs, because at the age of 35, the quality of your eggs starts to diminish. So that was really, you know, just coupled with the fact that culturally, as I mentioned before, you know, there's this misconception. I don't know if it's a misconception, but there's this perception that women who have fibroids cannot have children, right? So I think just thinking about that and what I'm experiencing now is really, it's making me anxious, and it's making me really fearful, like thinking to myself, like, oh my, what if it's true? Like, what if I won't be able to have kids because of my fibroids? So that's where I am now, you know, just praying that I can have kids, but ultimately maybe coming to the reality that might not happen. So it's really emotional. It really elicits a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, of uncertainty, not knowing what's going to happen in the future.
And I think too, Nkem, I think we've talked about it before, like with us being like dating and stuff. I was like, there is no handbook. I've read all the books on fibroids. Nobody is saying, hey, you talk about fibroids with the potential boyfriend on the 8th date. You talk about this, like you let him know, hey, you don't let him propose to you before he knows you might not be able to have kids. Like, I don't think anybody is talking about the fact that you're living with this, you're trying not to mess up your clothes, you're trying to be happy, you're tired, your blood low, you're dating, you don't know, you're going through all of this and you're really supposed to just still be a woman in everyday life and not spaz out sometimes. And not drink either. No, I can't do it all. And I have no sugar. Like, we gotta talk about how this is affecting every part of your body. And then they say, no, just go exercise. No, I'm depressed. I want to eat a cupcake, drink a whole bottle of wine, and I'm on Match.com. Like, we gotta get it together, sis. Like, sorry for the rant.
No, but I agree. And also, like, my older sister has fibroids, but she never experienced any symptoms. She was able to have 3 kids, and I'm over here and I'm like, oh, Lord, can that be me? Like, I want to be able to have kids. She didn't have any symptoms at all. So it's been a lot, and I've been staying with my sister for the summer and like just having her kids run around, and I think that's also pretty triggering for me as well.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The motherhood conversation, actually, I think that was the point in my fibroids journey where my mental health was the most unstable. I remember before my first surgery having my first ever MRI. And at the appointment before the MRI, the doctor essentially intimated that, one of the things she might be able to see is the likelihood of me being able to have children, or at least be able to forecast something. And I've always been in the position of, I want to have kids, I'm happily married, but not quite yet. So suddenly it hit me like a ton of bricks, like, whoa, was I wrong in taking the not quite yet stance? What is she gonna say? And that period between seeing the doctor, having the MRI, and then going back for my follow-up visit with her, which was about a month total, probably the worst month of the journey. I was crying a lot. I was lashing out at my husband. There was just a lot of fear and anxiety, to Nkem's point, about just thinking about the gravity of, whoa, like there's a major life milestone that I've always seen for myself that now may not happen. And so ultimately I had to be very fiercely intentional about compartmentalizing that piece a little bit, because I knew that if I kept thinking about it and kept wondering and stayed in that place, I wouldn't have been good for myself. I would not have been good for my marriage. I would not have been good for my professional life. And so for me, the motherhood conversation, I think, is really where I had to like dig deep and decide to kind of take a stance for my own sanity. I wouldn't say that I'm anywhere perfect right now. Coming off of my second surgery, I think we're gonna maybe start trying soon. So I'm keeping up a little bit more. Yeah, I say that with trepidation because this is about to be public. But it's kind of creeping up. But again, it's the one area that I have to be super intentional in my thinking and framing about this experience, because without that intentionality, I would be a mess. I was a mess.
I just want to throw my personal experience in there. Most people know, or most of my close family and friends know, that I have always wanted to be a mother. I don't know if it's the only child in me. I don't know if it's the constant desire to have more people around me because I don't have brothers and sisters. I don't know what it is, but I've always desired to be a mother. And I just wanted to touch on Brandi's point earlier about, not having a manual about how to deal with fibroids and as it relates to dating. There's definitely no manual about how to deal with fibroids as it relates to being married either. And you don't know, if your husband is looking at you sideways because he's thinking, he's seeing you up and down with your, the emotional battles that you can go through. whether, you know, the constant bleeding, it interrupting your sex life, the just not wanting to interact and not wanting to be a partner. And when you're married and living with somebody every day, you gotta show up and you gotta be a partner. And everybody talks about, you know, marriages work. So you have to find ways to interact. And sometimes with fibroids, you just don't want to do that. You don't want to talk to nobody. You don't want to kick it. You're not jokey, like none of it. So that's such a great point, that like there's no manual for any of this, and there is so much emotional up and down with it that it causes you know, interruptions in our lifestyle, which is what all of us are talking about. Because, you know, sometimes, especially in our culture, it can seem like, oh, you hating, you know, you don't want the best for people. It has nothing to do with that. But sometimes I just can't deal with another baby shower because of my deep desire to be a mother. So I think that's another thing that often gets stigmatized, and we have to talk about that more, that those are real feelings that we have. So yeah.
My therapist said I had to get to a point where I had to grieve the life I had imagined for myself.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like, girl, like I like that girl moment I needed. Because I was just like, it is to that point where it's like and I think society, you know, you do grow up and you have these image of what your life will be like at this age and then you're going through it and nobody tells you, but your body might not do any of the things that you want it to do. And I think it's even more triggering to be able to look like we look, go to work every day. Like it would be different. People would have more sympathy for us if we were like laid out in a hospital bed.
Yes.
People would have more sympathy for us, like if they could physically see something wrong with us. But because they can't physically see what's wrong with us, they just think like, well, we'll get over it. Or maybe kids aren't for you. Like, I just don't, I mean, this touches my soul, the lifestyle part, because I think it's something that is not only you have to deal with and get to a point in your mental space, whoever you're with has to get to that point in their mental space, your family. Like, it's so many moving pieces, but no one can look at you and tell that your heart may be broken because of what you're going through.
Yeah.
And I think that is so unfair to be able to see somebody laying in a bed and have sympathy, but not have sympathy for me because my body has basically turned on me and is not doing what society says my body is meant to do. This one girl who I'm friends with, I'll say friends, she posted something. She said, real women were meant to have kids. And I lost it. Like, you would have thought she called my mama a bad name.
But it's so important that we talk about the fact that, like you said, Brandi, we all are here looking beautiful, you know, speaking articulate, like seemingly all of the things that we need to be characterized as great women or boss women. And all of us are dealing with this. So that's such an important point to bring up. And the grieving part of it. Dr. or therapist Tori, you know, we had her on our IG Live a couple months ago, and she talked about the importance of grieving every aspect of something. So grieving that you've lost an ovary is important.
Yeah.
Grieving that your IVF cycle didn't work out is important. And sometimes we miss those. Tawana, what do you think?
You know, things came to a head for me. I was 38, and, you know, that's when things started to really, really, really pick up. But at 42, looking at, you know, the various options and what the rate at which they would be successful, to me, you know, surgeries, and based on my current condition at the time, one of the things I thought about, for as much as I had always desired to be a mom, I didn't want to go through multiple surgeries. And again, I was 42 at the time. I felt like, I want to be very careful with my words there, that I was robbed of my motherhood. you know, my opportunity to become a mother. And I do not believe that the process that I was taken through with my GYN, not my surgeon, with my GYN, was okay. It was not fair to me, and it would not be fair to any other woman. And so, also, to so many points that you made, Brandi, people, particularly women who already have children, so many times don't know how to talk to you and I. Oh, do you want mine? Don't worry about it, girl. You'll be okay. Do you want my daughter for a while? You want my son for a while? Just bring her back. But you can have mine. Don't worry about it. Or the other one was, you're 41, 42. Girl, you still don't have any children. How did you do that? How dare you talk to someone that way, a woman that way, especially when you are already a parent? How dare you? And then also, why do you even, girl, just live your life. Why do you even want children at this point anyway? You have this, and this. You don't have to worry about a babysitter. You don't have to worry about when you're ready to travel. You don't have to worry about your cycle anymore. But amazingly enough, you have a child. You've had the opportunity to become a mother. You rave about your son or daughter or children constantly. And that's what you say to another woman who does not have a child, or especially one who is challenged and really desired to have one, but you know, certain health circumstances would otherwise hinder such. So it's such a painful time. One, that you already have to try to make decisions about your health. And two, one of the very desires of your heart that was so major, you just have to let it go. And so what your therapist said about having to grieve each process, yes, you do. And I mean, there's no way to even prepare for that, if you will. There is no way to prepare, but you, if you want to choose to live, as I had to choose to live, I had to choose to grieve each phase, if you will. And so I was able to take so many of the negative comments that were made to me, and I was able to use each and every last one of them as a arm of power to me now. And they are completely under my feet now. And I'm able to show a whole different light with my life now because of that. But there were times when I just wished that I could say, oh, I'm still in my 30s and I'm still fighting fibroids and I'm still seeking options. But that's not the way it went down for me. And it's not okay. And I don't want to see that happen to other people. So that's why I say, with that watching and waiting, certainly I understand because I've already walked that walk. But if you have been equipped with some knowledge and understanding, I would encourage every woman to pray to God, pray to your support circle, seek your support circle, and make some types of decisions for your health, for your life, and for your peace of mind. And don't stand backed into a corner because it takes some time. It's already enough of a grieving process just to go through it. But when you have to grieve in that manner, it just adds to that pain that you have to grieve and to work towards overcoming. And so you talked about, hey, you know, sometimes people say to you, there are other ways to become a mother. That is a hard thing. But I had to, on my own, say to myself, you know what? There are some other things to consider about life that are so precious. Because if this is what God has planned for me, then I still want to live. So I am going to have to find a way to embrace the path that I am currently on. And wherever this path is taking me, is the path going to take me to adoption? Is it going to take me to becoming a foster care parent? Is it going to take me to I don't know. Is it going to take that? No, you are just going to remain an auntie to some amazing nieces and nephews that I've been blessed with. And you're going to go on in your career and in your entrepreneurship. And you're going to keep doing great things. And you're going to keep supporting other women. Maybe that's what it is. But whatever it is, I have to embrace it right where I am, and I will no longer accept any negativity, any comments, or any darts that will be thrown at me, because now where I stand, as encouraged and empowered as I stand, is whatever you try to throw at me concerning motherhood is going to bounce and probably hit somebody right back in the forehead if you try me now, if you will. But I swear, I just woe unto the person who comes from me now as it relates to my motherhood.
So Taryn, where are you on your journey?
That question does come up at family gatherings. What's taking you so long? You know you're getting up in age and everything. But at the same time, I had a conversation with my dad. He said, Taryn, you're not too old. You know, my mom had me at 45. And I said, really? Wow. And he was child number 9. So at the age of 45, she wasn't really expecting to have him at all, but there he is now, and he's over the age of 70 now. I think he's 72 now. So yeah, I live my life daily, and I see it as I'm not gonna live thinking about this every single day, because I have to keep living, and I know that along this journey it will take place at some given time. I don't know how it will take place or in what avenue it will take place, but in one of those ways it will take place.